You want to know a fun fact?
What?
You know, I used to do Let's Plays.
What's a Let's Play?
Alrighty. Welcome to episode
8. Yeah,
Oh,
baby.
I don't know why I smiled so big there. Welcome to episode 8 of the Safe State Podcast. I'm your host, Joe64, and here's my guest, Thomas 555.
I'm more offended that you called me guest.
Well, it makes you feel better. I almost said your full name. For some reason, that was the first thing that
well, definitely call me guest.
That's why when I
Just call me by my real name, Fight Fighter 555.
Five. That's why whenever I type in your email, so we have the notes for the episode, and I send it to him on Google Slides, and Keeps. Okay. Side tangent. Why is Keeps and Slides both yellow?
Because Google. Well, why is every other Google thing like the rainbow color scheme when it used to be different?
Docs is blue, Sheets is green. Like all like their we'll say the Office stuff has a. That's more, but then you have Keeps, it's a yellow with a light bulb on it.
Yeah, because it's like a light bulb. It's like ideas.
Which I like the light bulb. But I don't know, make it like.
I think
make it
Google
red.
Slides is yellow is because Microsoft PowerPoint is yellow.
Yeah, well, like Docs is blue, what?
Yeah.
But it's superior, so who cares?
It's superior because you don't have to pay a bunch of crap for
it. That's the big one. But anyhow. No, I always type in when I go type in your email. I always type in Fight Fighter 555 because you have the same icon. Well, at one point that was your icon. Discord, I don't know if it still is. Is it still the Starry Night? Okay. Yeah. But no, I started typing that, and it's like there's no email to that. I'm like, yes, there is. And then I'm like, oh wait, no, not my Thomas last name. I'm like, there it is. There it is.
Yeah.
You're one of those lucky people. You just have your first and last name. That's your email, no numbers.
Well. I have a very unique
last
it's fairly
name. Unique. Like even me, like I would say my last name's common. But like it's not like Smith or anything. It is a more but it's like if you Google my last name, there was a lot of people my last name. There's a lot of people my first and last name to the point where like my last name my email is like Joey last name, and then I have to always have numbers with it. Like I can't do Joseph, I can't do Joe, I can't. All of them are taken. As some fancy business executive. But no, anyhow, speaking of business, I really want to talk about Sonic Racing Crossworlds. At least for like a spell, because the game isn't out till September.
Really?
Yeah, later than I was expecting.
That's interesting.
But like it's September 25th, so it's like okay, it's like a good like month or two before Black Friday. But I think then it's also far enough away from like Mario Kart.
Well, it's not directly competing with it at that point. Well, I guess it will be since it's kind of like.
But it gives it time to be in the spotlight. Because no matter what, they're all gonna be competing in Black Friday.
Yeah.
But I honestly think it makes sense. They just gotta hope Corby Air Wireless isn't released in September. I know
Pokemon released in August.
I know Pokemon's October, which is not normally what they do. So that's interesting. But anyhow, that's Switch 2 stuff. We're not gonna talk about the Switch 2 today because no one cares about the Switch 2.
Yeah.
Everyone cares about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Boost, of course, DLC pass. No, I am so Sonic Crossworlds. We got the SGS trailer. We got to see Hatsune Miku, Ichiban. That's the
guy from
Yakuza. And
like a dragon.
Like a dragon. Um, Pirates of Hawaii. And Joker from Persona 5. Also, I didn't. Maybe I probably it's not historical, but I found out this morning. They're doing a remake of Persona 4.
Yeah, I saw
like what,
that.
what they did with 3.
Yeah.
I think it's all like
I think
revisited.
people are really excited about that.
Yeah, but I probably just mean it's because I'm not on Twitter anymore.
Yeah.
I just haven't heard. I had to like go on news articles to figure out what happened because I'm like I'm not.
I think I saw it with someone was talking about because all that was Summer Games Fest, right?
Yeah, because it was Summer Games Fest and then Xbox did a thing, but it was also like it was a separate.
Oh yeah, the freaking
showcase.
Rogue Xbox Ally.
Yep, find the handheld. How much was that? I meant to see how much that was. I'm gonna look that up.
It's probably a good bit of money.
Yeah. Talk about Minecraft.
Hey guys. Well, it's actually interesting. The next Minecraft snapshot's about to drop for anyone who cares about Minecraft. But there's been a lot of like really nice small touches. I want to get back into it because I haven't played like Minecraft consistently in a good bit. Like I remember someone saying that 2-week Minecraft phase, like that's real. And I think it's like there's stuff you can do to avoid it, but especially if you're playing online with like friends, then yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
How much is it?
It's 500, which is a lot less than I was because the leaks are saying like $800. But
that's not bad. Well, they're probably trying to compete.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Also, I loved how you went to the new snapshot. I'm more in Minecraft and Sonic racing.
Oh,
but
you gave me a general.
I just said Minecraft, and I was hoping you knew what I meant.
No, well, Minecraft is also going to be in this racing game, which is interesting. I would never think Minecraft for a racing game, but
no,
I would imagine it would work.
It's exciting. I like them.
What if
Steve, Alex, and Creeper?
What if they have where you can use the Minecraft character and do custom skins on your character?
That would be sick.
You can play as Mumbo Jumbo.
Jumbo with Sonic. They also announced they're doing cross-platform multiplayer with all systems.
I always like it when that happens.
You know, it was because Azuka came out and he was like, unlike a sorts another racing game, we're gonna have cross-plat, and I was like, dang, shots fired.
The other game isn't on other platforms, to be fair.
That's true, but I'm also like, you know what, like. He said it with such pride. I'm like, I can't even be upset. Like that's that Sonic pride. They brought up last year that like they want to kind of bring back the Mario Sonic rivalry. Like they want to become a competitor to Mario again. Like more like a friendly way, but like I don't know. I'm like, I think it's fun.
I mean, yeah, competition is great.
But no, like this ultimately bring me to just like this game. I was very excited for it, but I was like, okay, I'm like. It's probably gonna, and no matter what, probably still be in the shadow of Mario Kart World. But the fact that like Mario Kart World came out this weekend, and you're seeing this game getting all this buzz like at the same time, and from pretty much the same community, to be honest, I'm like, I was expecting to get a trailer. People like, oh yeah, but I know people are really talk about, especially them dropping like the Minecraft and the fact that we're gonna have 10 more free. These are gonna be free updates. There's also gonna be a paid season pass, but we're gonna get 10 more free crossover characters. Which one of them I know we got the SpongeBob leak. Which looks really cool.
SpongeBob leak.
Well, like we got some. I don't know if a guy got like an early build, but he's literally racing around SpongeBob throughout the entire level.
So that's interesting, considering that it's like doesn't have to be specifically video game characters or like because it's not like the Smash rule.
Yeah, it's literally just going to be like
whatever crossovers that feel like it.
That's why I feel like by the end of that, like game's lifetime, hopefully it has a long life. I feel like it's. I got said in our group chat, like I feel like this is like the next Smash Brothers in terms of like crossovers. I don't think we'll have like 90 characters by the end. Like Smash built up to that over 20 years.
Yeah.
But I think very similar in this that esque of like we got SpongeBob, we got Steve, you got Hatsune Miku. Like granted, all three characters are owned by Sega, but also like Hatsune, especially Hatsune Miku, is very much its own kind of entity.
Yeah, well, they don't really interact with each other all that often.
Like you have like I know Hatsune Miku has like a Sonic costume that she sometimes wears at events, but like that's about it.
Yeah.
Same like Joker. Like Joker is like he's in like all the crossovers. So he's in freaking Monkey Ball. So like stuff like that. And Sonic's is in everything, but this is Sonic's game. And even talk about the Sonic character roster. There's like 30 Sonic characters. They're
Jet
really
the Hawk.
the whole Babylon Rogues.
That interesting inclusion, but I'm not a.
I'm
I'm a fan.
I'm excited. I'm hoping they're going to do the airboards, kind of like how the bikes are on Mario Kart, where they control the same controls, but they like torn sharper and all that.
Yeah.
Because I'm like that'd be that. I'm assuming that's what they're doing with that. Because the jet boards.
I feel like you'd have to.
Yeah. And I think we knew about the jet boards, and we knew Jet was in the game because he was in the. You couldn't play as it, but he was in the title screen of the closed demo that I was invited to, and a bunch of other people got invited to. But he wasn't playable. Apparently he was playable at SGS. I haven't heard anything about it, but so I want to get the game, so I don't really need to know stuff, but I'm just following the trailers. But that's what I do in most games these days. I don't really look at like all the previews. I'm like, oh, let me watch IGN's 20-minute gameplay video. Like I used to do that all the time, but now I'm just like we got Mario Kart, we got Donkey Kong, then we got like Jamboree Party, we got Kirby Star Cross Worlds. Like there's so much coming up in gaming the rest of the year with this Nintendo. I'm like, I'm well fed, I'm good. And when Sonic comes, I'm just gonna really hope Nintendo doesn't have anything like that same week. I'm really scared because Nintendo doesn't have a game in September and Pokemon is late October. So I'm like, September 25th, I can see Nintendo being like, oh, let's put something like the week before or the week after. Let's have Kirby Air Riders that week. You know? So we still know the release date of that outside of 2025.
It's probably going to be like 6 months.
Yeah.
I'd guess.
My guess is probably, I feel like that's going to be the holiday game.
Yeah.
Seeing how Pokemon's not in November. That's normally the holiday slot. That or there's been rumors of a June Direct, which
will be interesting.
But typically we get one in June, but I'm also kind of like that we might get like a July. They might kind of merge like the fall and summer one into like a August or July one, just because of the way the Switch 2 came out. But I could see us getting some 2026 stuff, and then also be like, hey, here's the West 2025. We're getting, get another look at Tomodachi Life, get a look at Rhythm Heaven.
I'm so excited for it.
And then whatever their like November or December games would be. No. Anyhow, sorry, I can hear Fox at the door and it's distracting me. He wants to come inside, but he's going to get tangled in the cables. There's actually not a lot of cables this time. We've really simplified the setup.
We
didn't even talk about that. We have a slightly new setup.
Oh yeah, so ideally we look better. You can at least see more of us.
And we got
courtesy of Nintendo.
Got the Switch 2. That's the only thing that came like when you go towards it, looks kind of like fisheye lens.
Yeah, well, it's the wide angle, so it's
But no, we got the Switch 2 camera set it up, 1080p wide angle lens, and hopefully I keep looking that way. I do this on my streams too, since my chat's on the laptop. When I go to talk to chat, I look at the computer. I don't look at the camera because my computer is off to the side. My camera's here, but no, yeah, we're using this. So let us know how y'all like this. Kind of give you a bit of a wider view of everything behind us, and we're a bit more angled. We're gonna mess around with it. It's probably next time. I'm hoping for us to be more like I'm on this wall, you're against that wall, a bit more. But
that'll look pretty good in terms of shot.
Yeah, I mean, you can also see a lot more of the stuff. I think.
But also, our camera setup isn't like we could move it. To somewhere else.
Just Pummy's one to grab. Like we could move it. But like honestly, I've also thought about doing that corner has a bunch of crap in it right now. But like that,
we can clean it out. Yeah.
Just
to give it some variation.
Yeah. So, no, that's maybe one day we do in front of my Switch kiosk. This the force. No, did I have the Switch kiosk last week?
You might have just gotten it, but
I think I don't think I showed it to you though.
Not.
We wouldn't have watched last week though. We had a lot of stuff we had to do last week. Because we did that. We did the charity stuff. We had a lot last week. I guess we'll probably end up talking. Well, not today, but at some point, talk about the charity stuff on the podcast.
Yeah.
Anyhow, speaking of main topics or potential main topics, today we are going to talk about Let's Plays, the art of them, how they evolved over time, and how, for the most part, they're pretty dead these days.
Yep.
So
I should know. I killed them.
Yeah, you did. You got that zapper just. Oh boy, 20% off select Lego toys.
Oh boy.
Thanks, Target. Anyhow. So I wanted to start off with my personal history Let's Plays, mainly because it's not something I talk about too much on my channel,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, my mind keeps like shutting up right now. I don't talk about it too much on my channel in general, and it's something that a lot of people didn't find me till after I kind of walked away from it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like God, I don't even think I don't even I think I hit 500 subscribers after that, like a little bit after, because I know 700 was the first I celebrated on a live stream.
Mm-hmm.
At least when it happened. So no, so with me growing up watching YouTube, it was always, I watched like once like Sugar Conroy, I watched Sugar Conroy, Pro Jared, just being honest. Um
Glad one of those is slightly less controversial to talk about nowadays.
who else was there? There was Attacking Two Cans and Josh Jepson. There's obviously Proton John and Nintendo Capri Sun. There's so many I can't. That's the one thing I realized I didn't write a list of a bunch of them. Most of them I still follow to this day though. There's some Clement J467. Who still makes content. He now actually makes like these like multi-hour like
Deep dives.
deep dives now. When he walked away from Let's Plays, but he did a Let's Play of like every Sonic game, like
Oh wow.
every like even like Sonic Erasers.
Even the Game Gear games.
Yes.
Wow.
Like he 100% in every game.
Jeez.
But then once he finished that, he stopped. During the time between Forces and Frontiers, he fully caught up. And then that's where he stopped doing Let's Plays, and he did other games too in between the Sonic games. But that was like his for like
This is bread and butter.
over like 10 years. He did
Yeah.
that big marathon.
That's cool.
But now he did this. He does like Tekken and Street Fighter, like these big deep dives, and they've got like millions of views. He's seen so much more success now, which makes me very happy. But he did this one of like fake out video game endings. It's like a good like 40-minute video. Highly recommend it because it's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Just all the different ones. I can't even think right now.
The one that comes to mind is Sonic.
Sonic.
Secret Rings.
Oh yeah, Sonic and the Secret and Black Knight have their like little like, oh, it's the credits, not actually. But then you have like Sonic 2 and the Game Gear where like it's implied it's bad endings. So that's when it's bad endings. Because it's Sonic 2 and the Game Gear where like if you don't collect all the Chaos Emeralds, Sonic just looks up in the sky, see the constellation of Tails, like, did he die? like it's implied he died.
Dang.
The whole plot of Sonic 2 and the Game Gear is Tails gets kidnapped and you don't save him. I guess he's dead. No, that's a good one. Then there's the Mega Man. There's the Mega Man Japanese exclusive game where if you don't save the day, like Wool just dies.
Oh.
She's on like life support and pretty much like they have this generator battery, so there's like this EMP across the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then like if you don't, there's a time limit on that game. You don't save on the time limit. There's this, and it has animated cutscenes. It's around the time like Mega Man like 8 and X4 and all of that. And then she just you just see is this go flat line, and you just see Dr. Light just like sobbing in the corner, and it's like holy crap.
Jeez.
And that's why Ian Flynn adapted that game into the comics. It's a really good story. Wolf doesn't die though.
That's
in the comics. She almost dies. Mega Man actually dies in the comics. He gets rebuilt.
He's world.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I don't know. It's weird with Mega Man, but anyhow, big sidebar there. But no, so eventually that inspired me to do my own Let's Plays, which I did back in 2017.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. That's yeah.
No, 2018.
Oh yeah.
Because it's when Sonic Mania Plus came out.
Yes.
Which was the next year. 2018. So that's when I did Sonic Mania Plus, and I did Crash Bandicoot. And the way I did it, which also goes into our forced kind of one of the ways a lot of people like to play forced genre. I have like 5 genres here. Sorry, 6. I looked up that's not right. But so pretty much just like the voiceover, just like talking over. You record the gameplay. So I would sit there and record, play through the whole game, just like recording it or whatever, and then I would go sit down in front of my computer in front of a microphone and just talk over what I just recorded
for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, for like 10, 15, 20-minute segments. It's just whatever made sense.
Yeah.
It's like Sonic Generations, for example. I didn't just like, okay, 15 minutes. Like, okay, I'll make each part be one level. So it ended up being a 9-part series. So I know it ended up being a 10-part series for the final boss, but a 10-part series, part one. Typically in a lot of these series, part one and the last part of the longest, because normally it's like, oh, part one, you gotta go through all the opening cutscenes, you gotta play the first level. And so like that's only like a 20-25 minute part, and then the other ones all like one level, one level, one level, and then the final we got all the final boss, the cutscenes, and you gotta watch through the credits. And I think my final part of Generations was like 34 minutes, so I remember. I think at the time it's like one of my longer parts. Any of a game like Sonic Mania with me, literally, I was just like, whenever it felt right around 15 minutes, I would never cut it off in the middle of a level, but just whatever felt right. Going back to the older days of YouTube, kind of more where the Let's Plays originated, back where you could only upload videos up to 10 minutes. That's really where the whole part system came from. So you couldn't just upload a 5 hour, like uncut playthrough. You had to upload it in parts. And eventually I can move to like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and now it's the max you can do is 12 hours now. But that's where a lot of that originated from. Was okay, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. So if you had like longer levels like Metropolis Zone in Sonic 2, a lot of people will split this up into the 3 acts. Stuff like that, or like if you, God forbid, you do like a RPG, and like you find some of those old Let's Plays, they're like 300 parts long, because they show you everything. But that was kind of like that fourth area, like that. Pretty much just like get a camera, shove it in front of like the TV, or like if you had a
Oh yeah, because not everyone had capture cards, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, like you had like Dazzle, which like no one Dazzles were cheap, they're like $10, but like they would burn out in like 2 months.
Was that the company that? Because I know there was a company that made capture cards that was really crappy. You were telling me about
that was Dazzle.
Okay, so Dazzle is the really crappy one.
I don't know if they still. At least the capture card is called Dazzle. I don't know if the company's name. I never had one. I saw Elgato. I just saved the money for Elgato, but I also started in, like I said, 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
Good like decade later. But for me, sorry, not for me, but Dazzle was like, it would like last like a month or two and overheat itself, and then it would burn out, and you bought another one.
Jeez.
If you go to a lot of old Let's Players, you hear them talk about that, and also Skype. That's how they recorded the audio. It was over Skype, and they did like collabs, and it always sounded really bad. You had to have everyone record their own audio tracks and then put it together. But God forbid someone's audio track corrupts.
And just
you gotta do like editing magic, and it's really fun. That era I'm very nostalgic for.
Very much a wild west of like gaming content.
Yeah, but later on you kind of get a bit further on, and you have kind of the more like stylized Let's Play. So something like Chugga Conroy, his whole thing is like he's Let's Playing one game at a time, and it's gonna be like all he does for the next like 4 or 5 months. Depending on the length of the game. If it's like a shorter game, less months. Or something like he does a lot of he's done not all the Pokemon games, but he's been trying to get to do all the Pokemon games. He just did Black and White, and that lasted like 8 months.
Yeah,
because he caught every Pokemon, and like what he does when he catches, he only shows the Pokemon the first time you catch it. After that, he'll skip past the battles. So that's where you start getting a bit more edited Let's Play. Still that part format, but like he would have a bit more production value, and like, oh, like this is Pokemon number 25, Pikachu. Pretty much give you like the little Pokédex entry. And later on, he for like the legendaries, he got like full like custom artwork of like the show. It's like Arceus and all of them. I think he started doing that with Gen 4. Pretty much like, okay, like we're playing an RPG, we don't need to show you every battle. I know like Brain Scratch Cons, one of the Let's Play groups I follow, what they do is like they show you the battle once, and in the future, like in the Mario RPGs, when he jumps on like the Goomba, he just jumps on it, quick cut, and it's just like he jumps it and then it's back, keep going. Because one, it prevents your Let's Play being like 200 parts.
Yeah.
Because even if an RPG, so even like Paper Mario is still gonna be like 50.
Yeah.
50 like 20-minute parts. Like that's like a 3-season show in length. But no, so that's kind of like that, and then you kind of get more to what I call the live Let's Plays, which is probably a lot of people are more familiar with, like the Game Grumps.
Yes.
I think they're the big example I have. I think that's really what I put. Yeah, I put then the Grumps happened. Which all these were kind of around the same time. Game Grumps was
just like 2012, 2013.
Yeah, Game Grumps was a bit later, but like kind of by the point of like when it was getting a bit more
refined.
Yeah. But then you had that where it's literally just like a guy or multiple guys or whatever in front of a TV playing the game. They were playing the game
Live.
live and with really little to no editing. I want to say Game Grumps pretty much do no cuts. Sometimes they do.
It. I think back in the day, barely any, no,
Yeah,
but especially nowadays, yeah,
yeah. Like yeah, I
because they're
remember
still going.
even though Frontiers playthrough that's relatively recent. I watch like if they had the cut like like they had to like stop for a second and like pause, but they pretty much show you like the whole like if they had
They try to show you as much as the game as they feasibly can.
yeah, like I feel like I never watched them play RPG. I don't know how many RPGs they've done, but I imagine they show like all the
They've
battles.
done quite a few. I know one of their more classic series, Fire Red, is like I think it's closer to like 150
I believe it.
episodes. I know it's like it was at one point their longest running series. I don't know if it still is, but
Yeah. Um, you know, you have like actually bringing that reminds me. Steven plays when they did Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. They actually did both games at the same time,
hmm,
and they had both feeds. And as we get kind of more experimental ones, kind of come a bit more like say like 2010s era,
yeah,
or the mid 2010s. Like they're like, oh, let's do Fire Red and Leaf Green,
the
but we're going to
rebirth
show
of the
both
Let's Play, if you will.
the rebirth. Um, and it was both perspectives. Something I actually always wanted to do. I never did this, and I've been thinking of ways I may be able to rework this. But Fire Emblem Three Houses has the three storylines,
Hmm.
which are kind of similar in the sense of like the Pokemon games. Probably more comparable to like Scarlet and Violet, where like Scarlet and Violet actually have a lot of differences between the two of them.
Yeah,
Still the same core game, but you have a different professor, you have a different ending, you have different legendary and all that. Three house space. I mean, the main difference being who your classes you're teaching,
hmm,
but also the head of each of those classes is like the prince or princess of like one of three nations on the country. So because of that, it's like you're going to follow. You end up in one of those three kingdoms by the end of it.
yeah.
And if you do all three of those, which each of them are like 60-hour RPGs, you get a fourth one where you get to have your own class and you get to pick whoever you want. It's a lot. But I was like, what idea I had for a Let's Play series, which I almost did. It was like near the tail end of me where I would Let's Plays because I had this mostly scripted out at the time. Was I was going to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday would be Blue Lions. Wednesday would be whatever the yellow one's called, and Friday would have been Red Eagles. Um, I don't like Claude. He's the head of the yellow one, so I really don't care about Blue Lions and Red Eagles. And then after I did, and I was going to upload like part one, part one, part one, part two, part two, part two of like that whole. It was my first time being like really ambitious with a Let's
Hmm.
Play. I wouldn't do that if I was to do it now. I would do it a lot differently.
I feel like it would be better to like take part one of each and then cut between them,
I'll probably do something more like that now.
just so you don't have three part ones.
Yeah,
'Cause
but
I feel like that get confusing.
generally my do like it's gonna be three separate playlists, three separate playthroughs, and it was gonna be like whichever one you wanted to watch through, you could.
Hmm.
Um, so that was my idea with that, but that never came to fruition. Because eventually I hopped over to doing live streams.
Yes.
And that's where I kind of feel like Let's Plays was starting to get pushed into more that live, especially for like live commentaries. Um, you know, a lot of Let's Players move to doing live streams instead of Let's Plays, or they take the live streams, make them in the Let's Plays retroactively, like Steven Plays does that.
Well, and it really is, it's very simple comparatively to like set up a live stream
Oh
because
yeah,
for like just a typical let's play, you have to edit it like down to something else so people can watch it, even if it's like you just put it in and cut it like a million different ways.
yeah,
Like you still got to do that. But with a live stream, like if you don't, most you have to do is like download it and upload it to your channel, and you can just put it in VOD,
yeah.
uh, your VOD channel.
Or if you stream it on YouTube, it just gets
Oh yeah, or
uploaded
in
as a
YouTube, it's
video.
just right there. Yeah.
No, so that's like what venture I moved to in 2021, late 2021, going into 2022. That's why I made that shift. Um,
Did you ever do any live commentaries? I don't think you did.
feel like I might have done one. I definitely think I did one at some point, but I can't think of what's it. New Super Mario Brothers. No, I did record New Super Mario Brothers U. I did that all as a live commentary, and then I realized it was trash, and I never uploaded it. But I have the whole thing still. I edited and everything, and then I sat there and watched it before I uploaded. I'm like, this is the most like, who wants to watch one person play New Super Mario Brothers in 2019 or whenever that was?
Well, and that brings up an interesting point too, because like with like the let's play not live streaming, I feel like the only reason people typically watch a let's play is not for the game itself, but like the game itself could be a factor in it. Like, oh, if
Yeah.
they just really like this game, then they'll definitely watch it. But I feel like people go to let's plays for like the people playing them. That's why the
Hmm.
Game Grumps are still around, because people like
Yeah.
love them, like,
It's like the
and
let's
there's like a fan base for it.
Yeah, that's what I think on the other sites why like I feel like there's not can be so many of them because it's a lot of like I watched all of Stephen Plays but for the Wild playthrough,
Mhm.
which I took was over the course of I watched that over the course of our master mode playthrough. So like I can't remember how long that was, but it was very long. And I know their series was like over 200 parts. And it was by then they were doing like where they live streamed it and then cut it up to put it into a let's play format.
Yeah.
And they would edit out some, like if they were on like a dungeon for a very long time, they would edit it out, or a shrine, not a dungeon,
Mhm.
stuff like that. But for the most part, it was pretty much straight. And like that, I remember after I watched through all of that, I was like I'm probably never gonna watch a Breath of the Wild playthrough again because I really enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun, and I did go on and watch the Tears of the Kingdom one. I watched it a year later because I was
Mhm.
kind of burnt out on Breath of the Zelda in general at that point, especially after my own Tears of the Kingdom playthrough. However, um, I feel like it's like okay, if you're gonna watch whoever your favorite is. Of like, okay, I watched like Steven plays through Mario Galaxy. I'm probably not gonna watch Game Grumps that play through, especially if you own the game yourself as well.
Mhm.
Like someone like me, I own most of this game, so I like to see different perspectives. That also brings me to what I feel is kind of the final video form of Let's Plays being the supercuts,
Yeah.
which I don't. It's not really a term used anymore. But if you remember, for it was like
It's like 2018ish.
yeah, it was like for like a few years. It was probably by 2018 and probably faded out by like 2021, I would say. So I remember 2020 there was like a lot of them.
Mhm.
But you had I think
I know on your
I want to
list.
say Alpha Wag was
Yeah.
the first one who did it. I could be wrong. First one I saw who pretty,
Definitely the first one that got popular doing that stuff.
but he would do like I know he did like his Lightlock series,
Mhm.
and then he did that in parts, and then he would do like Lightlock Attempt One, the supercut,
Mhm.
and that's he did Mario Galaxy, the supercut. I actually did. Speak of Mario Galaxy, I got my Galaxy playthrough and I made it into a supercut.
Mhm.
Because I did I played through the main game up to 70 stars on the Let's Play, and then I live streamed myself getting the other 60 stars, or no, 40 stars, 50 stars, 50 stars. That's math. 70 plus 50 makes 120. And I live streamed that, and then I cut up that live stream, and then I grabbed the original parts. I made it to one big supercut where I actually moved the final part to the end. I like moved stuff around, and I'm actually really proud of that edit. It's like the one that I think Galaxy was the last Let's Play I fully completed.
Mhm.
There might have been one or two other games out there, but that was the last one I'm being very proud of. That was in 2020. Um, but that was also when I was like, I kind of like the Galaxy live streams, and then that's what I did. Like Pikmin 3. I did the very first game I live streamed was actually Shantae Half Genie Hero.
I feel like you've told me that before.
Yeah, which like it's not a secret. Like if you can look, and obviously I streamed it, but it's just such a random game. Not like random. I love the Shantae series.
Well, it kind of goes with the theme of like one of the first games you did play, not the first, or maybe it was the first, but just like Crash Bandicoot. And that's like, you explained why, because it's not like you have a strong affiliation for Crash Bandicoot. It's just you're severely limited in what you could
Yeah.
play through back in the first
The
days.
first year I did Let's Plays, I had to use the PS4's built-in capture and
Mhm.
stuff, where it would upload the videos to YouTube. Then I would download said videos, edit them, record them as parts, and then re-upload them. It was a whole thing. And then going into 2018, I had a capture card.
Mhm.
Because Sonic Generations is the last playthrough I did without a capture card. And then moving forward, all the series I did after that were with a capture card.
Yeah.
But no, that was at the time I still was like fully let it go of Let's Plays. So I was like, the reason why I did like
It took
Shantae.
a good while to get you get you off of
Yeah.
wanting to do Let's Plays.
But that's why I picked Shantae, because I was like, well, I'm like, I would probably want to do a Let's Play of this game, but like, I'll stream it.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to pick, same like it's what I did by Brilliant Diamond. I streamed that, which I
like DuckTales. I remember DuckTales.
DuckTales was that was a playthrough.
No, you streamed that.
Did I do both?
Yeah, you definitely streamed it.
Oh no, I did a speed one. I speed one the game.
Oh, that's what it was.
I did a let's. That was when because that's when I started doing the custom thumbnails too. Because it was that Black Knight. What was the other game? There was one other game. It was Odyssey. I did a Let's Play of Odyssey in May. That's why.
It's really funny to think about. All things considered.
It was Odyssey. It was DDR Mario, and then there was Mario Sonic at the 2010 Sochi, Vancouver Olympic Games. Is Vancouver 2010? Because Beijing was the 2008 Olympics. Yeah, 2010 was Vancouver.
And 2012 was London.
Yeah, London, and then 14 is Sochi. Then Rio. Then we didn't get one in 18. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
And then I was watching this sidebar, but I was watching. I forgot who it was, but they were talking about all the Switch games like everyone does right now, and they.
Was it Alpharad?
No, it wasn't. No, not Alpharad's video. I started watching his video about it. I've not gotten to the Mario Sonic game yet, or if I did, he might have glossed over it.
Yeah.
I think it was Scott the Wise. It's one. They don't Scott the Dash, but he brings up. He's like Mario Sonic at the 2020 Olympic Games. It's like they were the only ones who attended that year. And I'm like, you know what? I was like, that's really funny. I never thought about it. I'm like, shoot. I'm like, there was a 20. Because he's like, there were actually.
Because it was somewhere in Japan. I don't know if it was Tokyo, but.
It was Tokyo.
Oh, okay.
But he was like, and Mario Sonic were the only ones who attended the 2020 Olympics.
What a raw deal for Japan, because like the companies pay a lot of money to have the Olympics in their country, and it's just a big investment in general.
Yeah.
But that's a topic for another
day. 2021, but because then you had the weird thing if you had it in 2020. The thing is, they called it the 2020 Olympics, but it was in 2021. I thought they were going to rebrand it. So I was like, man, anyone who got like 2020 merchandise is going to have like some like exclusive stuff. No, they just use the same stuff, which makes more sense.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm like, well, that's stupid. Anyhow, because then but they didn't want to. They want to keep the schedule on track, so you still had whoever did the Winter Olympics. If it's not a Mario Sonic game, I don't remember it.
Yeah.
But 2022, they still did the Winter Olympics, so you had 2 Olympics back to back. And then you had 2023 and 2020. Who was 2024? Where was that at?
It was the last Olympics we had. It was the Olympics, like Summer Olympics. It was in Paris.
That's right, Paris.
The next one's in LA, baby.
Yep, 2028.
Yep.
I want to go.
I feel like, I don't know, if I don't go then, I would want to go at some point.
I feel like by then
I don't know where I'll be in 2028.
Like me neither, but I feel like I like to think I'm being in a better financial situation.
Probably.
Like, I definitely think I think it's something you definitely have to plan for. Like, probably like the only trip I do that year.
Yeah.
I'll probably want to go. I'd like to be there for the whole.
You just be in LA in general, but also there for the Olympics.
Yeah.
So
like,
it'll be expensive.
I'm thinking like being there like a week before.
Yeah.
And then also being there for the Olympics. The Olympics is 3 weeks long?
Yep. It's decent.
That was 2.5.
It is.
It might be 2.5. It's I know it's not like even 21 days. It's like 18 days. Or it's something weird.
I can't remember quite what it is, but it's something like that.
But I would love to like be there. Like by then, assume I'm still at Aldi's, I would definitely be able to like take the time off for it again, plan for it. But like I would have more than enough PTO by then. Hopefully, I'll be a store manager by then. Clip that.
You're gonna update your YouTube channel, guys. I gotta remove. You probably would say that on stream, but you're not gonna make like a.
I'm not gonna make a video. No, I guess I would see
my experience is that.
I've thought about making like a retail storytime video, but I'm like,
you should get an animator and then make it animated and funny.
I wish I had money for animator. There was another thing I would do if I had money for animator.
Yeah,
I have other projects.
But because I feel like we glossed over it a little bit. The supercuts and like kind of what they sort of evolved to, at least with Alpharad in general, like it's basically just like a supercut of his stream highlights, but they're also highly edited and like he has animated segments in his videos, or at least they used to be. Like there might not be as much anymore, but
he started doing them more recently. At the time, the supercuts.
Well, the Mudkip beating I think it was all of Emerald with a Mudkip. That one is decently
Yeah.
animated, but
I'm thinking like his early supercuts where they were literally let's plays.
oh yeah.
Like he literally just got accomplished with his old videos, and then eventually he's like slowly because I think his second light lock was only a supercut,
Hmm.
and then like he doesn't call them supercuts anymore. He just uploads the
Yeah.
videos now, which is what most people do. I know Desbug did that, and I know I can't think of other ones who did, but I know I saw a lot of like the supercut. Um, it was a lot of stuff that, but
But that's definitely the angle of if you're going to do a let's play type content video in a video form that's not just a VOD, you're gonna do a supercut.
yeah, you're gonna do a supercut.
Unless you're Game Grumps, because
Yeah.
you're gonna be doing the let's play until you die.
Yeah, pretty much. Also just to kind of touch on some else, you also had the walkthroughs,
Yeah.
which were just like
Or just the long plays, no commentary.
yeah, like long plays came like kind of a bit later.
Well, when
but,
you could record all the way.
yeah, but then you have walkthroughs that were literally just like someone telling you like what to do. It was pretty much like a precursor to like the IGN like guides and
You
stuff
know,
like
fun
that.
fact. When the very first thing I ever thought, because when I started like actually watching YouTube, I watched a lot of Pokemon YouTubers, and so they would have like walkthroughs, and I was like, the first thought of me ever doing anything, I think I knew you, and I knew you had a channel or anything, but like I wasn't in it or anything, like in how I am now, basically.
Yeah.
But the first thing I ever wanted to do was Pokemon walkthroughs.
I don't think you've ever told me that.
No, that I definitely
I
haven't ever
believe
told
that,
you that.
but
But then it was
yeah.
like, I don't know, something changed, and I was like, I don't want to do Pokemon walkthroughs anymore. I mean, I don't know. I just think with something like a walkthrough, like once someone's done a walkthrough,
Like
it's
a
like
nice good
it's
one.
hard to do. It's hard to add anything more to
Yeah.
that.
It's like it's like Sonic 06 for example. Like there's not much to add to that conversation. You know, like again, like Sonic 06. Oh, why are you smiling?
You know
Or like
exactly why I'm
or
smiling
like
at you.
Super Mario. Or like the NES used to be right behind me until I rearranged my shelves. But like the NES, like how much could we really talk about the NES? You know,
Yeah.
there's some stuff where it's just like we've had people who talked about it. Like so, it's just kind of like you got unless you have a new spin to bring to it, or it's something new or um
There's not really much gray room in there unless you're just really creative.
yeah, or if you have like a personal story with it,
Yeah.
like me, I plan to eventually go big video talk about like the Wii U, my history with it, and like people have talked about the Wii U to death, but like I have a very unique story, and it's gonna be more focused on my story, less the Wii U itself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's kind of the angle you could go with.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like in general, it's something I always try to do with. Even back when I did Let's Plays, even now, I try to when I pick games to play, I don't. I try not just to pick games. As dumb as that sounds, like I try to actually have like a reason, a purpose behind them. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm gonna be picking like when I did Thousand Year Door, my whole idea behind that project, 'cause I put a lot more thought into my streams than probably most. I mean, I don't want to say most people, but I feel most people kind of just like I feel like playing this game, they put it on, they play it.
Because that's how I do it.
Yeah. Me, I'm like, okay, I'm at least I'm gonna do it the full series. That's why I'm glad I started doing the one-offs
Mm-hmm.
because they let me have a bit more flexibility. Like the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour was a one-off. I didn't want to make that into a full series.
Yeah.
But with something like Thousand Year Door, my whole thing about that series was at the time I was getting the D&D. I wanted to get better at voice acting because I did not voice my character. I just used my normal voice, and I
Mhm.
wasn't. Whenever I tried, it was really bad. So I was like, I want to do better at that. So I'm like, I'm just going to really flex my vocal range, and that's what I did with Thousand Year Door. And that ended up. A lot of people love that series. That's one of my favorite series looking back to do. And that eventually, Super Mario we did that. Mainly because it was a highly requested game, but also just to kind of like a fully continue to evolve that. And I also did but that was also in service of leading up to the remake of Thousand Year Door. So I did Super Mario, then the remake of Thousand Year Door came out, and that when it comes to new games, I kind of throw that concept a bit more out the window. It's like, oh, the reason I'm playing is because it's the new game from
Mhm.
like typically Nintendo. But even then, I don't do all the new games.
Yeah.
Like Thousand Year Door, that's a very personal game to me. I love that game. To have there it is. You can kind of see it, but right here behind us here, I have my signed copy of the game from Charles Martinet. Um, so there's a bit of a personal investment to that, but I'm trying to think. There was another one I was going to bring up, but I can't remember now. I don't know. But even going back to like again my Let's Plays, I bought the Three Houses. How I scripted that out. I scripted out not my initial Let's Plays, but as early as probably like I know Galaxy, which was one of my longest series. I fully planned out to make sure I would hit 70 stars, but also collect at least 1 star from each galaxy. You get 70 stars a lot early in that game, very early. You don't one of the domes you don't even really unlock until you'll most likely have 70 stars. But I specifically planned it out, and so I would do one of each star, one of each kind of like mission types. Either they had some like more gimmicks, like the Man Away gimmick and stuff like that. Make sure I did all of that, the Rolling Ball, and also do one of each comet, which required a lot of planning and pretty much almost making a speed one route, except the most inefficient speed one route ever. To make sure I played all of them, and then I ended with Molten Lava Galaxy, whatever that one's. I can't. That's not what it's called. It's Molten something. The last one, where you fight against Fiery Petey Piranha, which it's supposed to be a bookend to the fourth boss fight where you fight Petey Piranha, or Dino Piranha. Sorry, Dino Piranha, not Petey Piranha. And I had that all roll in, and then you have the Rosalina where you get to like find out Rosalina's backstory. I had all of that edited in throughout the series as I edited each. You unlock those based on how many stars you have. So I went onto my save file, my personal save file, not the Let's Play one. So you actually unlock the final chapter after you beat the game, but I want that throughout the playthrough. And whenever I got a Grand Star, there's one chapter for each Grand Star you get in the game. So I had it would fade to white. Instead of going back to the playthrough, it would go to that story time segment, and I would read it out.
That's actually pretty neat.
Yeah, and then I would melt in Mario Comes Back with the Grand Star. And then I had the final episode end with that story time and like no commentary after that. Like that was the final chapter of that. To kind of make it full circle. And then I had the little cutscene and when it shows Rosalina, the post credit scene, who reading the story time to the Lumas, and it's like, oh no, it's together. That's also I think that's the first time I did voice acting in the series because I didn't just read like I did like the Bowser has very few lines in that game, but like in the cutscenes I actually did voice acting for that. I got one of my friends at the time to voice Rosalina for that whole series, which is a lot of fun. So I did a lot of that kind of stuff too. Of that like so that Galaxy is definitely probably like my most ambitious Let's Play. Thinking back,
it was definitely your most popular one.
It's very popular. That one, I know the first part. I think that was one of the first series that cracked 1,000 views. That ended up getting a lot of viewership, and the playlist as a whole, I remember got a lot of viewership on it. Like in this Mario Galaxy, that's one of those games, and that's going back, again why I wanted to give kind of a showcase of that game, but I also was like, okay, I want to have my spin too. That's why I did like the voice acting. I did the altering of the cutscenes. I was like, I haven't seen anyone do that. Something I actually want to do is Sonic Adventure. Going to that, I wanted to.
Which was my first appearance on the channel.
It was your first appearance channel.
I think we told that before. Maybe not on here, but we've definitely talked about that somewhere.
Before. We probably talked about it in the fourth episode.
I think we did actually.
But something with that playthrough was I originally wanted to make it to where it was all the I pretty much combine the 6 story or the 7 storylines together to be one flowing story. So like when Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles all come together, and you have the Knuckles fight, and then you have the Chaos 4 fight. I was going to have all of that happen at once,
spliced together,
and I was just like my idea behind it. Actually, I used Chaos 4 as kind of like a pitch for myself, where I had Sonic do the force hit, and then I would have a crossfade right when Sonic hits it to show Knuckles coming off from his first hit, Knuckles doing the second hit, and then Tails doing the third.
That's actually a very cinematic way of doing that.
To do that, yeah. And then like for stuff like when Sonic and Tails are like wasted through Windy Hill, I just kind of my idea was I was sort of splicing all that. But that never came to fruition, and that was a long the time I was kind of like putting less time and effort into the Let's Play. So then me and you just end up doing what we did. I think we just did Sonic Story. 'Cause I know we did all the Sonic Story got uploaded. I think we started Tales, but I don't know if that got uploaded.
Yeah.
But then we did the live stream.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fun. That was fun. That was kind of like my last. I think that was kind of like the last like Let's Play related material, even though that was very loosely related.
Oh,
Because we did that because I was like,
we wanted to finish it up.
I was like, let's finish what we did.
Gosh, because I will say I had a lot of fun during that live stream. If you guys want a taste of old us, I would say go back and watch that live stream.
That was the 4-year anniversary. That was 5, 6. This July be 7th. That was 3 years ago.
That was 3.
Which does it feels like it was a lot closer. That was 3 years ago. So that was.
Well, that's when so fun fact. I don't know if we told this. The game room did not used to be in this room.
No, so this used to be my bedroom. And the game room used to be they used to be swapped.
Yes.
And actually, we're getting ready to move these rooms again.
Really?
Yeah. So we're getting ready to. I won't talk about too much. I can't. I'll probably talk about more when the switch actually happens. But my hope is when we're going to be rearranging some of the stuff in the house soon. Mainly, I'm sorry for my niece.
Oh yeah. Right.
Because we want to have her and my nephew to have a room downstairs, pretty much like a playroom. We used that. One of these students used to be what we called a playroom, just like toy box, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But then as we got older, like, well, we don't really need a playroom anymore, so we got rid of it. That became the office. Well, the office is going to stay the office, but we don't need. I don't need. We have these 2 bedrooms here, and then upstairs we have another bedroom that's much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And our plan is to move this up there.
Oh.
And I'm hoping we can also have a proper set for the podcast up there too.
That would be nice.
That's my hope.
I've actually never been in that room in your house.
After this, I'll show you, because then we can
talk about it.
I still don't know how we're going to fit everything
there. Yeah.
Mainly because the way the roof's in that room, it's slanted.
Mm.
So it's not like this where it's the same height and I can have all these shelves. We're going to figure out either get new shelves, or maybe buy more media shelves. That media shelf, I know where that's going to go. That I was going to have to unhook it off of the wall, and then we're going to have to fill in the drywall, of course. But that's a big thing. All these things are mounted to the wall, all the shelving. So it's like there's a lot of drywall that needs to be replaced.
We'll figure it out.
Well, you used to get the fill in and paint over. It's not that big of a deal. We still have a paint can of the paint we use in this room.
Mm-hmm.
Which I really like the paint color in this room. But anyhow, side tangent aside.
Yes.
No, I don't remember what my point was before that, but
no, you're just talking about Galaxy and how you were kind of like you cut it all up together. Oh no, we were talking about Sonic Adventure in the live stream. Yes,
because that was so for people who've been on the channel for a while, like I did Legends Arceus was in this room, but this back when it was in my bedroom. The desk that you actually can't see, but the desk that I stream next to used to be on that back wall, and that's why I did all my streaming for a good while. And then while we were moving the rooms, I kind of bounced between. Then eventually I landed into that room once we got all that settled in, and we did. Especially we did stuff as a group. We would record it in there. Like the Force charity event was in there. The Force charity event, the 4-year anniversary was in there.
Stream that we did, I think it was me, you, John, and AJ. We did a
the Corby.
Yeah, I think that was in there too.
Corby was in there. That was when we moved the couch this side, and the TV was on that side.
Yes, I do remember that because it was the opposite when we did
Sonic Adventure. I'm trying to remember why I did that. I
think we thought it might have been more space, or maybe it was something with the door, because the door's right on that side too.
Maybe. I'm trying to remember. There was a reason why, because, God, that was back when I had the brown shelves.
Yeah.
I still love that one, the short, long one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my games could not fit on that anymore. But at the time, that was, and I had all the consoles on the top. I remember that. I need to go back and grab photos of that. Because I do have photos. Every time I rearranged that game room,
take a photo.
I took photos. That's why we put the couch on that side, because it's when I got that tall bookshelf. I didn't have that tall.
Oh yeah.
Because remember the bottom shelf was with the couch.
Yes, I do remember that now.
That's what it was, and that's why I put all of like these little, like all these accessories.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Which is now what that shelf's still there. It's just more exposed now, but No, no, that's what that was because I had like the Mario Kart wheel and my Wii Fit Boy and all that there, and then we had. Is that just why I had all my collectibles? I don't think I had games on that shelf. I think I just had all the collectibles on that shelf.
Yeah, I think so.
And now I have 4 Billy shelves.
Yep.
I honestly probably need more. Like I moved all the Sonic figures up there because that I know that's not going away anytime soon. I was so upset. I found a movie Knuckles figure, but it was not the Flames of Disaster one.
Oh.
And I'm like, I got really close to buying it, but I was just like, I'm not gonna be happy with the Flames of Disaster. So I'm like, I'll wait.
Mm-hmm.
I might.
You'll probably find it somewhere.
Yeah, either find or worst case scenario, I'll buy one secondhand. Like, honestly, I'll probably get lucky if I found it for like $10. Probably get it cheaper than if I got it brand new. Because I'm gonna take out the packaging anyways. But no, I love that up there.
It is cool.
It's really sick now. And I finally added like Fang and all that up there too.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, people can see what's even up there.
Yeah.
I posted before on the community tab.
Yeah.
But no. But no. Eventually, the plan is to move up there. I might get some sound
panels.
panel
Ooh,
in.
that would be nice.
Have a nice little studio where I can
actually buy carpet. Put on the walls.
Well, it's already that room has carpet on the floor.
Put on the wall.
We wanna this because it's how.
Let's put something panels on.
Well, modernizing the house, we're going to be tearing out the carpet there when we move the stuff out. But eventually, we'll tear the carpet out of here too. I like fuzzy carpets. I know, like it's really bad because I get stains. Like this has a. I still don't know what. This has always been here. There's this hard spot here on the floor. We don't know what it is. We can't get it off. But no, so I get it. But I'm like, I like carpet. But I'm probably just gonna buy a carpet to put in there. I get like one of those like quirky game or carpets. That's like the big Nintendo 64 controller.
Don't bother me, why?
Game, sleep, eat, repeat.
We need to do an episode of the podcast just talking about gamer merch.
I probably have some in here.
I used to have so many gamer merch stuff, but I don't anymore because I didn't like it.
I never liked it. My mom always.
No, it's
not for that long. In general, I'll give my mom credit. In general, she was really good about. I'm sorry, I just realized I have 2 Joy-Con grips. Why do I have 2 Joy-Con grips? What? On the behind Cat Toad.
Oh well, you have one that has Sonic on it.
Yeah, but like that's just a decal. I'm talking. This is the Switch 2 one. I'm talking about these because I feel like no one ever knows I'm talking about these. But the one for the 4th Switch, I have 2 of these.
Is one of them a fake one?
No, they're both genuine from the looks of it.
Oh, did it come with?
Oh, it probably came with the OLED.
Yeah. You're
right. That makes sense. No, because the Sonic Force one is the one that you can see the Joy-Cons when they're actually.
Yeah.
Don't use them anymore. No. I remember I specifically bought that gray Joy-Con from the Infinite decal. No. Then Switch 2 one. But no. I want to give my mom credit. She was compared to most parents, she was really good about video games. She knew like Mario, like Nintendo was the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She wouldn't buy me like SpongeBob. Most of the SpongeBob games were good, but she wouldn't buy me like a Blue's Clues game. No, she would buy me like Mario and like Sonic and like she knew. I'll give her credit for that. Like I do have like one memory of like her being like, you should buy like you want this short, and it was like that game Eat Sleep show. I'm like, no. But I know she never bought me any of that stuff. Now that I think about it, I can't think. My grandparents did.
It's definitely like a grandparent / aunt uncle type thing that you get for your birthday because they're like, oh, he likes video games.
Yeah. No.
But it's funny.
I do remember I think it was my uncle. He bought me the card charger for the DS for like my birthday. God, I always wanted one. And I don't have it anymore. I don't know what happened to it because it's like the cigarette lighter charger. Yeah. And I remember always seeing it at Walmart, and I was like, it's so cool. And I'm like, I could charge my DS in the car. I could always play my DS.
Know what a cigarette lighter is?
That's why I say the car charger. Yeah. I think they're still in new cars.
Yeah.
And they don't. You have to now plug something in there for it to
have the thingy
for the light your cigarette. Yeah. I know in Europe they still.
Well, they have ashtrays in their cars.
Yeah, but no. But the cigarette lighter thing, no. I always wanted one of those, and then my uncle gave me one, or he bought me one. That's on. I love the package of like the Wii and DS. There, I have a nunchuck sealed in the case.
Yeah.
It's in the other room.
Oh, it's right there.
Oh, is it up here?
Yeah.
Oh, I moved it in here. That's right. Is it on the? No, it's not.
I can't see it. I mean, we could tilt the camera, but that's whatever.
It's fine. But just that era of like the Wii and DS, I really like the. I don't want to. I don't want to say minimalist because it's not like super. Not like the modern.
It's that 2007 type because there's a very specific terminology for that era. I think people call it like Frutiger era or something, where it's like kind of like futuristic-esque, but also minimalist.
But I love it's why I like when and it was like $10 when I bought that. I think you were with me when I bought that, and I was just like,
you saw it, like
yeah. It was at Second and Charles.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I just love that packaging, that style, and I'm like, that's really cool. So I like the Wii U's aesthetic. I love the Wii and the Wii U and the DS.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at that Nintendo Power magazine that I have.
Yeah.
I just love. I love it.
There's so many bits that are just look at something in the room in this episode.
And you can't see it. That's what we're just gonna put the wide angle lens against the door so you just see the entire room, and we can talk about anything we want. You finally be able to see the Game Gear.
I feel like showing off the Game Gear so much.
I think it's in almost every episode. I don't even blame. It's not even intentional. It's just like it always just seems to be around. It's because I never put it back on its stand in the corner.
Yeah,
I keep just putting it on the shelf.
But, anyways, so Let's Play is dead.
I would say
it's effectively dead. It's not really like it's lived on in different forms, but the
traditional Let's Play is definitely dead. But it's like you said, it's lived on in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
It's like between live
it's changed with the times, which is what we want.
Yeah, between Let's Plays and like live streams. Sorry, not Let's Plays.
Supercuts.
Between like supercuts and live streams, it's definitely still like lived on. And you have like so you still have people like Stephen Plays, Trigger Conroy, Poton John, a lot of other ones who still Game Grumps.
Yes.
Who still do like the traditional Let's Play, but it's pretty much you had to have a fan base formed around it.
You're not really gaining much more. That's the thing. They're not good for growth, I would say, if anything.
What?
I need to pause the episode.
Why is there a beep?
Yeah, I hear that.